Welcome to the Onyx Pathcast. I am this week's host, Dixie Cochran, here with Eddy
Hola.
and Matthew Dawkins.
Oh wow! I felt like that was quite a sensational introduction to me. So, thank you very much, Dixie. I'm elated to be here.
This is unlike most of our incredibly well-structured episodes that have a beginning and a denouement and all those things that you're supposed to have. We don't have a structure for this one. We have decided to have a ramble.
We're so good at staying on topic that we're trying something different this time.
Yeah, we never go on tangents or get sidetracked or distracted by other things going on in our lives.
I will say that
do that today.
as we're recording this, the first episode of our Trinity game went up, and one of the comments in the blog was, according to your show notes, it looks like you guys hardly digressed at all, and I find that unbelievable.
We actually didn't digress too much during the Trinity game. I was playing the Trinity game.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I was like, it was a shock to all of us, actually. No, we didn't have much digression. So we're making up for it by just doing a whole episode of digression now.
Well, I've got a question. I have a question for Eddy.
I thought I was the host.
No, you are, but it's a question that I wanted to ask Eddy about digressions.
Okay.
Eddy in particular, because I think Eddy has probably been running games for longer than both you and I, Dixie.
I don't run games, so yeah.
Well, there you go. And that means Eddy has probably encountered more player groups with their parties going off on tangents, avoiding the main quest, just ignoring the mission and leaving the haunted house or whatever.
Right.
So I have a general RPG question for Eddy live on air, which is...
Even though we're not live and I can edit this.
Right.
Cool.
You're ruining the illusion, Dixie.
That's what I'm here for.
Call in now. But anyway. So, Eddy, you're running a game. The group decide, fuck your plot.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do something we think is more fun. What is your go-to way of addressing that as a GM?
So there's a few different things to unpack there. The first off is that when I planned a lot, how I would handle that is I would try to improvise a little bit to encourage them to either move back to the plot or to kind of put the plot in front of them. So it's like if I had encounters, say, where they meet a nefarious person in a tavern and they decide to go to a different tavern, I just move the encounter there, kind of thing. So it's like, you always will eventually run into plot.
Yeah.
Or to whatever I need to do.
Yeah, like if they go west instead of east, then okay, that place they were going to go is now to the west. Okay.
Right, exactly. You get ambushed no matter what road you take, kind of stuff.
Yep.
But honestly, over time, I just stopped planning. What I do now is like the Trinity game, that's a great example. I just have like a bunch of bullet points of here's the things that we need to check off and details, and then I just make up the rest. So if people go quote unquote off script, there's no real script to go off of anymore. So it doesn't bother me much either way.
So you've given yourself an improv education over many years of running games. Basically,
yeah. I hadn't actually thought about it that way. Now I'm curious if I should actually look into trying improv.
Honestly, like if nothing else, when it comes to improv, the yes and no and rules are very, very helpful. Or no but rules are super, super helpful for role-playing games. Because like, yes, and then this happens. Or no, that's not the correct answer, but you discover this thing or you notice this. It's like, it seems so simple, but it's so helpful because when you have a GM that just stonewalls you on something, that can be so frustrating.
Right. I will say that the one kind of exception to this is when I'm doing a one-shot game, which conventions or if it's just our friends just want to play a game for one night, I will sometimes explicitly say, guys, I need you to go in this direction.
Right.
And just make it absolutely clear, this is where the game is at. I do not have time for your fucking around. Go that way. But that's a very case of everyone is aware that this is a very time-sensitive game we're playing, and we don't have the room for improvisation. If it's a game where I'm just running for friends, and I have certainly run games where it's like, here's what I expect to do today, and we just never get to any of that. They're role playing, they're screwing around. But I mean, sometimes I think rolling with the punches is more fun. I was running a Marvel superheroes game. This was 5-6 years ago. And I thought it would be funny to have the main antagonist be vampires because I was as well still the Vampire the Masquerade dev.
Right.
And so it's like, vampires would be funny. Haha.
Also, there are canonically vampires in Marvel Comics.
There are a lot of vampires in Marvel Comics.
Yeah, like Jubilee.
Yes, right. Yeah, and Julie and Blade sometimes, and Deacon Frost, and Dracula's castles on the moon, and just bonkers stuff.
I just always loved Jubilee, and I love that like one of her last things is that she became a vampire. It made me happy.
Yeah, and like to save her son, right?
Yeah, it was super weird.
It was weird. Anyway, so they find those vampires, and one of the people playing the game is Bobby Drake, Iceman. He's a teenager, and so one of the things he established early on was that it was set in modern day. So it's like, okay, well, so as a teenager, he's very social media savvy because Iceman's always been kind of an attention seeker. So he, has a social media account. He live streams. It's caused problems in the past. And so the first thing he's like, well, there's vampires. We should go to Transylvania. And nobody had a counter argument to that. So they booked tickets and flew to Transylvania. I'm like, well, okay. So I pull up Google Maps and start finding, let's find a nightclub that has vampire-themed nightclub. I'm like, let's probably those in Transylvania. And sure enough, there's like a dozen of them in Transylvania proper. So I picked one and they went there. And sure enough, the vampires are there because, like, again, move the plot in front of the players. It's like, yes, the vampires are in Transylvania. Why the hell not? So Bobby got a flash mob together of people and started getting the vampires trending on Twitter and rolled fantastically on his roll. So I'm like,
oh my God.
Okay. So it was, my original plan was like, they would be ambushed in secrets and they would be kidnapped and the plan would get revealed that way. And it's like, this still gets what I want to accomplish, but it's much more entertaining. And so they had this huge fight in the middle of a 90s era vampire themed nightclub. And it was just, I think, 1,000,000 times better than what I had in my head.
I love that. That is kind of, just for the listeners, the base topic we had covered today was just talking about kind of what games we've been playing recently. Because a lot of us, are playing a lot of tabletop games over the internet and also are playing a lot of video games to unwind or to stream or with friends or what have you. So we figured we would just kind of ramble about those things today. So if you're not interested in what games we've been playing, you should still listen because we're funny.
Everyone keeps saying that. It's like, what was it? Someone's on like, was there a requirement on the Pathcast to be hilarious?
Yeah, I think that was what the Gehenna Gaming guys was like. Right. Yeah, is there a requirement that you have to be hilarious to be on the Pathcast? And it's like, no.
Yes,
I'm here, so that's clearly not the case.
Yeah.
I appreciate you agreeing very quickly with that, Dixie. That's great.
No, I was talking about me.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I was like solidarity arming you, like
right, okay.
like the clasped hands. Solidarity.
Solidarity.
So, what have you been playing? What have we been enjoying recently?
Matthew was telling us about his Crusader Kings game.
Yes, so I've been playing CK3 only recently.
So have I.
One of my lovely Patreons actually picked up a copy for me, which I didn't ask for, but was very kind of him. So thank you very much. And when my favorite place to play in CK2, I was always going for Slavic kingdoms. Just enjoyed it. I kind of enjoyed building up areas such as Minsk and making the kingdom of the White Rus, and inevitably then having to fend off a besiegement of Mongols about 300 years later, which never went well. But I like the challenge that comes with that. The sort of knowing that at some point a steamroller is going to demolish you. And so I've been in the very early stages of my CK3 game playing what I think, I'm trying to remember where it started out as. I think it just did start out as Minsk, and now I'm the White Rus Kingdom. And it's just an improvement in pretty much every way to CK2.
It really is.
I mean, I'm finding bugs, and I think that's pretty typical of a game its size. It's never fun to find them, but it's also predictable. and I will submit them diligently, and hopefully they'll get picked up. But yeah, I've been having lots of fun doing all the usual things of waging wars, getting married, murdering rivals, murdering offspring, quite frankly, and trying to prune out the hideous members of my beautiful, beautiful family.
Yeah, it is definitely like I do tease my boyfriend about it sometimes because I'm like, oh, you playing eugenics simulator again? And he's like, yeah. Because I mean, it's not a nice game, is it, Matthew?
No. There's parts of it that are certainly light-hearted in the way of the encounters that the writing team have put in there. They're usually called decisions, I think, where you'll get a random event that will be predicated on your traits being a certain amount, or you having a certain quality or drawback. And some of those can be amusing, but the general makeup of the game is pretty bleak, because if someone's not trying to murder you, you're often trying to murder someone else. And in that respect, it's pretty historically accurate, because very few leaders between the years 600 CE and 1600 CE were dying normal, happy old age deaths. Most of them came to an end via some horrible means or other, either in war or via assassination, being deposed and dying in poverty, that kind of thing.
Or terrible illness, even.
Yep. So yeah, in that respect, it's a very good simulation. But in terms of grand strategy games, I don't think CK3 can really be beaten at this point, which is as it should be. It is the newest grand strategy game of its kind on the market.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm having lots and lots of fun. Haven't cannibalized the Pope yet, as everyone else is trying to do.
1.3 million players, you said, have cannibalized the Pope?
Apparently so. According to the text file that came with the latest patch for CK3, I think it's 1.3 million people have cannibalized the Pope. It's some ridiculous figure, like 8 million players have petted an animal during the course of the game.
I've petted so many animals. So in one of my games, like one of the random encounters you can get is that you can find a cat or a dog. And so one of my games, my king found a cat and he adopted it, and his wife was like, I'm allergic, and I was like, fuck you, the cat stays, because cats are cool. And then I adopted a dog, and the cat killed the dog.
Wow.
Like, they had a fight, and I was like, oh shit, the dog's gonna kill the cat, because size differences. Right. But no, the cat killed the dog, and then I just had a cat for several years until it died of old age. It was my constant companion and gave me great comfort.
So I have a question, and surprisingly, it's not about the dog or the cat.
Okay.
Which would be on brand for me. No, I did try to play Crusader Kings 2, and I thought at the time that there was a pretty heavy learning curve on the game. Is that still true of 3?
No, I picked 2 up kind of late in its cycle, and it had too many things to do at that point. Like, I was often very confused, and there were whole swaths of the game that I never quite figured out. I have not had that problem at all in CK3. There's a really good tutorial section.
Okay.
So like when you first start the game, it'll say like, do you want to play this tutorial, King? And it'll flash things on the screen at you and everything else. And so I find that with a lot of the Paradox games, especially their strategy games, like what's the space one?
Stellaris.
Yeah. If you come in their development cycle too late and they have like 10 expansions, the tutorial doesn't do shit. Like, I tried to play... I purchased and tried to play Stellaris exactly once, and probably should have gotten a refund. Because I was like, I don't understand any of this, and there are 18,000 buttons on my screen.
Right.
With CK3, I'm not having that issue at all. It's very beginner-friendly.
Yeah, I've played quite a lot of the Paradox Grand Strategy games now, and although it's not terribly extensive, it doesn't last hours, the tutorial for CK3 is probably the best one when compared to... there's certain things it doesn't go into, which I have found a little bit frustrating, because the interface where on the overlay on this game, where I'm trying to find out, so how do I actually change my laws of succession, isn't necessarily, I guess, organically placed,
Right.
but I've worked it out through trial and error. But when I compare it to something like Hearts of Iron 4, which is a game I really enjoy, that game's tutorial is, and apologies if any of the Hearts of Iron 4 team are listening to this shit. Probably not, but if you are, we would still love your sponsorship. Your tutorial is awful. It prepares you for a single skirmish-esque war with Ethiopia as Italy. And you are, of course, given the time, 1936, in that game, almost guaranteed to win. It is almost impossible to lose, I should say. And after that, the game pretty much says, you've won a war. Now you're on your own. And in terms of how to actually build up armies, defenses, how you should structure your armies, basically, what kinds of units you should fill into them, there is no guidance whatsoever for that. So as soon as you start going up against someone who's a slightly larger, more well-prepared AI, you're dead.
Yeah.
And you basically spend your time with the game open in one window, well, one monitor if you've got two monitors, and the wiki open, which the fans created, in the other.
Oh no.
Until you get it right.
Wow.
And I've been playing it for a while, and I always enjoy playing a challenging, I guess, nation, because I'm a masochist when it comes to video games. But
Right.
I've done pretty well with Yugoslavia, but it was a real uphill struggle to even learn how to become good as Yugoslavia. I don't want to have to watch actual plays on YouTube from veteran gamers to get an idea of how to play. So CK3 just does it straight off the bat. I think anyone could get into that one.
Yeah, it was pretty easy to play, and you felt accomplished, and it taught you about most of the features of the game. The one thing it didn't teach you that I was annoyed about is a very tiny thing, which is that you could actually change your character's appearance.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, it didn't tell me that. But my boyfriend found it and told me. So now I can change what they look like.
This is now the CK3 episode, but just quickly, do you know, Dixie, is it possible to change characters' names?
Not as far as I know once they're set. Like, yeah.
So one of the bugs I've discovered is names don't always populate, or sometimes they populate with erroneous characters. And I don't know whether it's just because where I'm playing on the map, there haven't been enough names programmed into the script. I hope it's something a little more complex than that. But sometimes, I was saying to Eddy before we started recording, I'll get an event that says, blank, it will just be a blank space, has discovered an assassination plot and you're caught against blank. And then, of course, you have the option of going with blank suggestion and investigating it, arresting blank, or ignoring blank, and you don't have an idea who these people are.
I haven't gotten that bug.
Okay, well, the other one is, I'm guessing, people in my court whose names are separated with underscores, which isn't, as far as I know, a part of the Slavic alphabet.
I haven't gotten that bug either, and I've played Slavic. Like, I've just gotten Slavic names.
See, I got a character who I'm guessing her name was supposed to be Vera or something like Vera, and I got VE_R capital A. So yeah, it looked very odd. I've taken screenshots of it, so they'll be wanging their way over to Paradox.
Yeah, the only other thing I could think of is maybe you somehow got an early build.
I don't know. That sounds very weird to me, because I haven't seen any of that. Like, I have honestly not encountered a single bug in the game.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. There is a fun Easter egg, and that's that some of the developers and writers have their names in the game. So when I was playing as Queen Matilda of Italy, and later Empress Matilda, because I founded an empire, I had Bianca, one of our writers, as one of our knights, because I was playing with the matriarchy setting on, the like full matrilineal setting. So all my rulers were women, all my knights were women, the Pope was a woman, priests were women, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And so one of my knights showed up, and it was Bianca's full name, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, hey, I know her.
Yeah,
And
I see
apparently they're changing the portraits to make it look more like them.
Apparently,
that's
they
cool.
they have now done that. I think
cool.
Bianca posted a screenshot somewhere of how she looks in the game now. So,
Nice.
for the sake of reference for the listeners, Bianca Savazzi, who does work for us as a writer and is just co-developing a book with me now, also works for Paradox Interactive, hence why her name's in the game.
Yeah.
But I've not discovered her yet, but I've worked for a little while for Paradox, and so it will be interesting to see whose names I do recognize from.
Yeah.
From it.
I definitely only saw her when I was playing in Italy, so I'm assuming that they tried to match the names with the geographical locations. Their names would make sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Because, yeah, you wouldn't see, like, a Savazzi in, you know, far eastern Russia, probably, at that time. So that's our CK3 ramble. Lots of Crusader Kings 3. Eddy, what have you been playing recently?
Oh wow, I've fallen down a fan translation rabbit hole. So there's an
Another
entire,
one.
yeah. This is a video game fan translation as opposed to the
Russian
TV
Sherlock
fan
Holmes.
translation. Yes.
Okay.
There's a great website called romhacking.net, which basically is people who not only do fan translations of games in different languages, but also they hack ROMs. They hack games in different shapes and different structures. And so the first one I started playing was Dai Gyokuten Saiban, which is the Great Ace Attorney. It's the Ace Attorney spinoff that's set in 1901 and features Sherlock Holmes. So of course I'm gonna play that. And I mean, in general, that's pretty typical Ace Attorney. It's a little bit longer than the usual games. It's got a beautiful, beautiful orchestral score. But basically, it's you talk to people for a long time. You search crime scenes, you find evidence, and you go to court and you present your case in increasingly implausible ways. The minor spoiler, but when you get to England's, so you start as a Japanese attorney. When you get to England's, get to the Old Bailey. The court is you have a jury of 6 people, and whenever they decide someone to be guilty or innocent, they slam their fist on the table and a fireball shoots up and goes into either the black scale for guilty or the white scale for innocent, which is exactly how courts were done in 1901 in England, as far as my research is determined. So that's pretty accurate. But the other one that's a little more interesting for my game designer brain is a game called Center CX, CX2 specifically. The first version of the game was localized in the US as Retro Game Challenge. But I got the second one because a lot of people said that it was just a far superior game. And it's a little DS game. The basic premise is weird but simple. You're turned into a child and sent back in time to 1984 by some weird entity called Areno. And Areno has challenged you to beat video games. If you beat video game retro game challenges, he will eventually send you back to your own time. The game has 15 different completely fictional retro video games. There's a Pac-Man clone, there's a couple of the Mario clones, there's some shooters, there's a role-playing game, there's a text adventure, and they're all made up for this game. But what's fascinating, it's a great use of the Nintendo DS system, where the top screen is the game you're playing. The bottom screen is a picture of you in the living room playing with your friends, and hooked up to the TV or playing with your Game Boy or Game Boy knockoff or what have you. And there's also magazines you get. So as you unlock games, you also get different issues of the magazine. The magazines have interviews with these fictional game designers, game tips, walkthroughs, and the games even have cheat codes programmed into them that the magazines will reveal for you. And so it's really interesting for a couple of reasons to me. The first is it's a nice way of emulating playing classic video games without actually dealing with all the frustrations of that.
Right.
The games are very slightly modernized, so you can play through a game with reasonable skill in a couple of hours, as opposed to banging your head against the wall for months. But the other thing that's interesting, it's got me thinking, is that there are magazines that tell you cheat codes, and the cheat codes broken into the game. So you're not going to an external website and finding cheats. This is something that's programmed in the game, and the game is encouraging you to find. So are they still cheats, or are they playing the game as designed?
Right.
And so it's been really interesting to do that. And also the challenges are structured in such a way that basically each game has 4 core challenges. And the first 3 are just really a tutorial functionally, because there's also an instruction manual for each game that you can read through. But also it's like, go, score 1,000 points, collect 2 of these things, and those teach you the different elements and aspects of the game. The last one is usually do some modestly hard, defeat the first boss or finish the first level. And then when you finish the 9 core games, then the last challenge is like harder versions of 4 of those games. So it's interesting because the game's teaching you how to play these fictional games. The games are clearly homages to other games, and I think I've learned how to play things like platformers better from playing this.
I don't think they're fictional games if you're playing them, are they?
Well, I mean, they are games that are they have a fictional background, I should say.
Oh, okay.
So, like for example, the first one is Whizman, which is a Pac-Man clone, but you're playing a wizard, and you have to grab a certain color of wand. You can eat dots of that color while you're holding that wand.
Right.
And there are a whole bunch of 1984-ish Pac-Man clones because Pac-Man was such a huge phenomenon. And so it's kind of emulating that, but it's made by a fictional game company called Tomato. But the magazines talk about interviews with Whizman and how the home console version differs from the arcade version, which you don't get to see at all. Stuff like that.
So like, so even the game exists, its whole background is fictionalized. That's cool.
Right, exactly. And so you play from 1984 to about 1992, and you also, there are interviews like, here's how this console's going to change things. At one point, the Guadia Quest Saga is one of the role-playing games you play. And that's a 10-hour full role-playing game. I mean, it's small, but it's legit. You grind levels, you power up. But through the magazines, it looks like it's going to be the 3rd game you're going to play, and then it gets delayed. And so you play the actual 3rd game, and then they decide that a new console's coming out, so they delayed it again to go for the hardware of the new console. And so you actually go through the frustration of not being able to play this game for like in-game 2 years, but it's actually like 2 or 3 different games before you get to play the game. So there's even like production delays are emulated in this game. It's really, really fascinatingly cool. So it's been fun to kind of poke that and see how to, especially because I'm working on a game right now, which is also emulating video games. So it's been really helpful to kind of think about how that's doing that.
I love that you're like the one, I feel like of the 3 of us, you're always the one who manages to find work in like leisure activities.
That's not a good thing.
Because like when I'm playing a game, even if it's like an RPG, so it's a direct analogy to how we, do stuff. It's like, I don't think about work while I'm playing a game. I'm playing a game.
Well, I mean, for me, some of it is just decades of doing this. Like,
right.
I've learned how to do research so much that it's kind of intuitive. But also, this goes on something that I think Matthew has talked about in the past in the podcast, is that if you're working in this industry, you have to kind of keep playing in this industry too. You should be running games, you should be playing games to keep your enthusiasm up. And so that's the main reason why I do it is like, I just really enjoy playing these things. But then I find when I'm really into a game, I start kind of deconstructing it naturally. Like I just think with television, the same thing with novels. It's like, I'm really into this. So why is this working for me? And I'm able to articulate it. And it's 50% trying to continue to find and refine my skills, and 50% justifying the research expense for all these games I buy.
No, totally. I get that. When I bought my my desktop a couple years back, I was like, yeah, I need it for work, even though work is mostly word processing. But I also play video games on it.
Right.
I was just like, yeah, I need this giant monitor so I can do side-by-side document comparisons, which I don't usually do.
Yeah, same thing.
It
I
is
got
really
my
helpful for
laptop.
working in InDesign. Or not InDesign, but in copy.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I got my laptop, it was like I need a strong gaming console because if I get a video game job, I might have to run on optimized code and blah 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 blah.
I haven't actually been playing CK3 as much recently. I've been playing a shit ton of other games though. I've been because of the summer. I've actually saved some money because I haven't been going out and I haven't been buying clothes or anything really.
Sure. Yeah.
So I splurged a little bit recently and bought a few video games and also a bunch of clothes because why not? I was like, oh, I'll wear them next year.
Nice.
So I've been playing a shit ton of games. I've been playing Among Us with friends, which probably most of our listeners are at least vaguely aware of. If not, it's essentially Werewolf. It's one of those games. Werewolf,
Right.
Town of Salem, Secret Hitler, whatever. But you're playing as tiny little spacemen running around on a little space station. And two of you, like one or two of you are imposters, depending on how many of you are there, and you're just trying to murder everybody. And if you're not the imposter, you're trying to figure out who the imposters are. And it's really fun and very silly. So I'm playing that a fair amount with people. I've also been playing Hades, the new game Hades. It's incredibly good.
Really? What's it about?
So it's like an isometric action game. You are playing as the son of Hades, Zagreus, trying to escape the underworld with the help of boons from some of the Olympus gods. Because they're kind of like, Hades is kind of a jerk. You should come live with us. And part of the game is that it expects you to die and come back over and over again. Like you are not supposed to make it on the first try. Right. Because every time you die and come back, you have new conversations and interactions with the people that live in Hades's castle, I guess.
Interesting.
And it's super, super interesting. It's very well voiced. The art is beautiful. Like I cannot get over how beautiful all the gods and other characters look. I haven't actually made it out yet, and I've had like 25 attempts. But the game is also kind of randomly generated as far as the rooms, so you're not going through the same sequence every time. Like,
so it's kind of a roguelike?
Yeah. And you pick different doors whenever you leave a room, depending on what reward you want, and you're going to get different enemies and things like that. Even the final bosses of each stage change depending on how far in the game you are.
Wow.
And I'm sure there are people that escape after 3 tries, but this is not my kind of game. And also, I really should be playing with a controller and not on my keyboard. Because my thumb started to hurt when I was playing for a few hours on Sunday. But it is such a beautiful game. It is so well voiced, and it really does hit that kind of addiction game switch of I'll just do one more run.
Yeah.
Which is not always the best thing, but it means I've played it a lot more than I thought I would.
Yeah, that's great though.
Okay, I'll do one more run and then I'll stop and then I'll finish that one and be like, oh, but I was so close. I'll do one more run. I can pretty generally get through the first 2 levels now, which is Tartarus and Asphodel. I'm not great. I've gotten through Elysian Fields, I think 4 times now, 5 times. The final boss of Elysian Fields has gotten me every time. Not the final boss, but the boss after you get out. So I've technically escaped, but I haven't actually gotten to walk away yet.
Right. Oh, that's so bad. So close.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so you're trying to, just get out of there and join the other gods. And Hades is like, I don't want you to do that. You're a brat.
No.
Yeah, and there's 6 different weapons. You can change your weapons. You can upgrade them. You get experience every time, so you get tougher. There's also a god mode if you're not into the super hard stuff, where every time you die and come back, you gain 2% damage resistance. Oh, okay. So if you it won't affect the game. It doesn't affect your achievements even. It just means that you get gradually tougher as you go through. I actually like that a lot, and I've been playing that way after my first few attempts. So I have 50% damage resistance now, which means I can reasonably get farther every time, which is cool.
Is it a side scroller or?
It's an isometric top down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been hearing excellent things about it. A lot of people I know have been playing it and singing its praises, so I will inevitably check it out at some point.
It is so good. Like I said, the art is amazing. The music is amazing. It's by Supergiant, who did Bastion, and
Right, yeah, they did Bastion and the other cyberpunky one.
yeah, it starts with a T. I always forget that one. But yeah, so their games are pretty known for having like super good music. This one, I would say, combines a lot of the elements of the other ones. Like, you can unlock upgrades for the house too as you go through it. So some of them are just like decor, like you can get a new dog bed for Cerberus. Also, you can pet Cerberus every time you come back, Eddy. Every time.
Well, that's excellent.
Yeah, I pet the dog every time. I got an achievement for petting the dog 10 times.
Hooray!
Yeah. So some of them are just like cosmetic, but then there's some things that you could unlock, and it changes the more you die. You like get more things added to it every now and then. So after a few attempts, all of a sudden it was like, do you want a fishing pole? And I was like, what the fuck am I going to do with a fishing pole? And then I could fish in some of the rivers of the underworld randomly in certain spots. And then you can like give the fish to the cook in Hades' house, who will give you rewards for them. And it was just like a random element that popped up, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll fish. That's cool.
I think it's a response to every fishing mini game in every game.
I mean, it was just surprising because it wasn't introduced for the first like 10 runs, you know? And then suddenly it was like, give me a diamond and I will sell you a fishing pole. And I was like, what the fuck am I going to do with this? And it's not often that you can do it. Like, there's like a little glowy spot occasionally in one of the rivers, and you can go fish at it. And yeah, but it was wild. But no, the story is phenomenal. Like the writing and voice acting are both excellent. Highly recommend.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I'll check that out.
Yeah.
What about RPGs? Tabletop RPGs. Remember them with all your glossy video games?
I would talk about one more video game as a bridge then, real quick.
Sure. Ooh, okay.
So I discovered a game. I don't know if it's pronounced Wildermyth or Wildermyth, but it's spelled exactly like it sounds based on what I just said. It is an RPG video game. It's on Steam. It's in, I want to say, like early access right now, so it's not entirely complete, which means that it gets a little repetitive if you play it a few times. But it is a procedurally generated world where you play essentially a small D&D party. So you start out with like 3 heroes. And you go through and you fight things and you level up. It's all done in a really adorable, like, paper cutout style. So when you're actually fighting monsters, you're on like a grid, and they actually move as if you were moving like a mini. Like they kind of like, you know, tick, 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 like across the board. All the monster art is really cool. The characters themselves, you can change any of them at any time, which is nifty. So they're customizable as far as their name, their gender. They have they have she, her, he, him, and they, them. They also have sexualities, which is, you know, you can be attracted to men, women, or any, which is cool. They're very, very inclusive. And then you like make your little party, you level up, you do age, and eventually like leave the party. You can die in combat too, which is a whole thing. But if your character makes it to retirement, they go into your like legacy characters, and then later you can play legacy games with them. But I find all the random encounters in this game so charming. And also the fights are pretty fun. Like you can have archers, rogues, warriors, and like casters. And the way casting works in the game is actually super interesting. They infuse with things on the landscape. Like if there's a rock, they interfuse with the rock, and then they can fling rocks at the bad guys. It's a really interesting magic system. But I've been loving this game. I think it's super cute. It's super inclusive. Sometimes your characters will become like romantically involved, and then they'll have a kid who will then later join your party. If you get later in the game where you've recruited a bunch of heroes, you can sometimes have 2 parties, like going off and doing different things at once, because the max amount in one party is 5. But yeah, no, it's a really, really fun little game. Like I said, the only criticism that I have and that I've seen people on the Steam store have is that it does get repetitive after a while. And that's true, but I think because it's early access and they plan to be adding a lot more encounters and adventures and stuff because they're all written by somebody. which is also cool. They actually like tell you who wrote each encounter, like as if it's a story. It'll be like Sneak Thief by so and so, you know. And you can acquire little pets. There's like all kinds of just cute things I keep discovering about this game. You can transform into like a fire elemental by touching magic fire. You can transform into like a gem creature by prying a gem out of a thing. One of my characters has transformed partially into a wolf. Another one is pretty much fully transformed into a giant crow. So all of her attacks now are attacks with her like claws and beak. And yeah.
Yeah, and I was just looking at the art while you were talking about it, and it looks like they've really committed to that kind of paper cutout thing. Because like even the UI, like the damage and stuff over top of their heads is angled at the same plane as the paper cutout.
Yeah, yes, they're quite committed to it, and it's really very cool. Cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all like watercolory. It's really pretty. I super enjoy it. Your characters each have very specific personalities. Yeah, I don't know. I spent like a weekend pretty much just playing that and had a blast. So I recommend it. And because that bridges into RPGs, what tabletop games have we been playing? Anyone? Matthew? I know that you run like a bunch of games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I run far too many, probably. So yeah, I've been running Pendragon actually on that Crusader Kings line of thinking. And again, sorry to bore you, Eddie. Some of what I've already told him is...
Gosh, Matthew.
Well, I love Pendragon. I think it's a fantastic game, brilliantly researched. I do think it has its flaws, mainly surrounding its treatment of women, which it has the same, I guess, treatment as A Song of Ice and Fire and other pseudo-historical, I guess, medieval fantasy worlds, where the idea is that because women tended to take second-class roles in history, they have to in historical fantasy as well.
I'm so annoyed about that.
The existence of dragons and wizards and
exactly. They like present me a world where they're like, you are going to believe that dragons and magic are real, but it would be too implausible for women to have jobs.
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
What?
So the way it comes up in Pendragon as a flaw, and again, I probably shouldn't focus on the flaw first, but it's a fairly glaring one. My gaming group has 2 guys, 2 ladies in. And the Pendragon default is you're all playing knights, male knights, and part of the job of those knights, or the quest of those knights, is not only to attain glory, do things like be the knight that actually knights Arthur as a child, be the knight that retrieves Excalibur from the lake, be the knight that hunts down the questing beast, that kind of thing. That's all good fun,
right?
But it's also about, much like in Crusader Kings, finding a spouse and getting her pregnant and ensuring she has enough pregnancies that your lineage can continue, because children tend to die very young in the Dark Ages, and so do mothers. And the upshot of it is women tend to be seen rather much as sort of chattels, commodities. And while the game doesn't use misogynistic language, or it isn't hateful to women, it has that medieval fantasy traditional treatment of women, to the point that the Great Pendragon campaign, which again is a brilliant campaign because it takes you all the way through from Uther's reign to the end of Arthur's reign, there are encounters every single year for around, I think, 150 years, so it can sustain a long period of role playing.
Right.
Has about 3 or 4 named women throughout, and about 200 named men. And it's because in the Arthurian legends, of course, all of the protagonists are men. Barring the Lady of the Lake and Guinevere, really.
That and Morgan Le Fay, I'd say, are all the women that I can name from Arthurian legend.
Yeah. Now, in its defense, well, not its defense, but what is good about Pendragon is the rulebook does basically say, hey, do you want to play a woman knight? That's absolutely fine. The campaign doesn't necessarily cater to that because it sticks to the traditional Arthurian myth, but here's how you can make some changes. So it gives you some advice on that. The problem is that the default isn't that. But the good thing is the players that I'm running for right now are really enjoying the aspect of doing things like maintaining one's domain, the stewardship side of things, the familial politicking, which I'm more or less adding to the game because the game, as written, focuses more on battles and taking down Saxon chieftains and things like that. So the players have all constructed their family trees, and I've given them all traits in the same way as Crusader Kings. So you have a brother like Told the Greedy that basically tells you all about who Told is, and Moriad what did we have? Moriad the Suspicious, and characters like that.
Mm-hmm.
So then whenever they're not on quests and they're back in their fiefdoms, they have roleplay to be had based on who their siblings are, what they might want, who their children are, their uncles, and so on, and aunts. But yeah, there's a definite masculine focus to the game that I think for a modern audience needs to be polished, shaved down a bit. And it's quite possible to do it. It's just a bit disappointing the book isn't already built that way.
Yeah, I think even for a modern group, it can be easy to fall into that trap because it's so baked into a lot of RPGs.
Yeah, definitely.
Like even this is a total anecdote, but I've been playing V5 with a home group, which is super fun. And until very recently, I was the only woman in the group. We have since added another one, which is great. But for a while, it was me and a bunch of guys, which is fine. Like we had a great group dynamic. They're all super nice. They're all super chill. You know, we're all like kind of politically in the same place, so it wasn't a problem. But I did point out to our storyteller after about 5 or 6 sessions, I was like, you realize that whenever we meet NPCs, the ones that are coming to me for quests, essentially the ones that you have my character interact with, are all women. And he didn't even think about it. He was trying to be more inclusive by putting a bunch of women NPCs in, because we have a ton of women NPCs in the books, and he did not even realize that like the unconscious bias meant that all the women were interacting with my character.
Right.
And I was like, that's like, she's a power-hungry Lasombra. It's like, people like, Horatio Ballard should be talking to her, Alan Sovereign, like some of the movers and shakers in Chicago. Like, it shouldn't, I mean, granted, she's still fine talking to like Portia and Bronwyn and whoever else, but she shouldn't be exclusively talking to women.
Right.
And it has since been fixed. Like, I pointed it out. He said, my God, you're right. And it has since been fixed. I even noticed in our Trinity game, Matthew, all 3 of your contacts were all men. So I made all 3 of mine women.
Huh.
So that our game would be... would have gender parity.
Yeah, no. It's that obviously was completely unconscious, but I appreciate you pointing it out. Luckily, that's an easy thing I can change.
I mean, it wasn't a problem. Like I said, I added 3 women, and so I figured that would make it all make sense. But I think it's just like when you're making your touchstones and stuff like that, sometimes you just, subconsciously essentially make them other characters you would play. And often that ends up being the same gender as you, which is interesting.
That doesn't make sense.
Like, I have definitely played, like, that Wildermyth game I was just talking about, I have to keep reminding myself to also make, like, male NPCs or like male PCs, because I keep making all of my characters women and non-binary people.
Right.
And I'm like, which is fine, actually. Like, if you have 2 women and they get romantically involved, they'll come back with a kid and there's no explanation. It's just their kid, and that's totally cool. But like, I'm trying to be representative of everybody. The other cool thing about Wildermyth, one more quick thing, sorry, is that none of these styles are locked into any of the genders. So you can make like a, masculine, quote unquote, bodied, long-haired woman, or a non-binary person or what have you. You can have a tall bearded non-binary person or woman, which is super 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 cool for me, because I've actually been it's such a weird thing. I've actually been using the game a little bit to train me out of assuming the gender of people based on how they look, which is something that I've been trying to train myself out of for a long time. But I don't feel bad as much if I misgender the fictional character in the game that only I'm playing.
Right.
So I can just correct myself and move on without the guilt.
Right.
Like, I will see a character and I'll be like, her, because, they look traditionally femme. And then I'll be like, wait, they. And I'll move on. And if my boyfriend comes in and is like, she's a cool looking character, I'll be like, they. And then he'll be like, oh, sorry. And he'll correct himself and move on.
Right.
But it's been a tool for that I did not expect.
That's cool, actually, yeah.
Actually, in our V5 game, we've been dealing a lot with Alexa Santos, who uses they, them pronouns. And I correct people every time they mess up, because once again, see, I just did it. Their picture in the book looks pretty femme. And so I think that everybody keeps unconsciously being like her. And so we correct each other. And it's not harming someone directly, because it's a fictional character. Right. And so we can just correct and move on.
Yep.
It's just an interesting thing about gaming that I think is kind of cool.
It really is.
That you can use it to help unlearn your gender binary stuff that you were raised with.
Well, I've already put that on my wish list, so there we go.
Cool. What about you, Eddy?
What about... Yeah, sorry.
What have you been playing?
Carried away.
What have you been playing tabletop-wise?
Quite a few things, actually. So kind of bridging both areas. I have been playing some digital board games a little bit. I was in a brief Blood Bowl league online, and also played a Sentinels of the Multiverse occasionally with some friends, it's actually kind of fun. It's a way to kind of get that tabletop itch without actually being in the same table, so that's nice. But actual RPG wise, both. Well, I played in a short game of Dungeons and Dragons Rick and Morty, the kind of one-shot module, which was actually surprisingly quite fun. It helped that all the people involved were fans of Rick and Morty, so we could play. The premise is that you are playing one of the characters from the show who is then playing a character in D&D. So you're kind of playing your character as that character from the show would portray them as. And the DM is Rick.
Interesting.
So Rick is kind of an asshole killer DM, but that's the joke of it. And so it actually ended up being kind of fun, because it was a way to play kind of quote unquote classic meat grinder game, but with humor. So that way it's not as irritating and frustrating.
That reminds me of that Borderlands 2 DLC.
Yeah, a bit like Tiny Tina's. Yeah.
Bunkers and Badasses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's definitely kind of that kind of aesthetic, I think. But also it lasted for like 4 or 5 sessions, which is about as long as that should probably take. The joke starts to run thin and the game's over. It's like, cool, great. That's about the right length. But now my wife is running one of the Forgotten Realms modules came recently. I've already blanked on it. It's not Dragon Heist. We were playing Dragon Heist around the table before COVID hit, and so now she picked up a different one with a different group. Again, I can't think of it. But basically, she bought one of the Roll20 packages. So basically, you buy it, you get all the maps and the information and the stuff for free, or not for free, but all made up and done. So she canvassed her friends, and actually a lot of our UK friends were interested. So we can actually hang out with some of our friends that we haven't seen in probably a decade. From the LARP community and other people that we have friends with in the UK, because you have to kind of game with them. It's their evening, but our afternoon. So on the weekends, it actually works out pretty well. And I've been slowly running a sequel to my last Marvel game. I'll be honest, I've been struggling with running games online. It's been a weird source of anxiety for me.
Right.
And so I've been trying to run a game. It's with people that I'm very comfortable with, and it's a game system I'm very comfortable with. So it's like, let's start with just remove as many factors as possible. And I've been slowly getting better at it to the point where now it's like I feel like in the next few months maybe I can start actually running games for online conventions again. But I didn't want to do Pugmire because that felt too much like work, and I didn't want to do D&D because that also feels too much like work because it's kind of like Pugmire. And so I'm running this for a short session, and people are having fun with that. And also because it's a superhero game, I don't have to worry about like maps or too much of the technical fiddly bits of digital or virtual tabletops. But then from there, like if that does well, what I may do is I have over the course of my life acquired a disturbing amount of quick starts and jump starts from various games.
How much do you have to get before you have a disturbing amount of quick starts and jump starts?
40 plus.
That's a fair amount. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what? Maybe I'll just now it may be a good time to kind of just start running some of these, like, rather than running the whole game. It's like buy the whole game, set it all up. It's like, just take this jumpstart, run it for 2 or 3 sessions online with a group, and see how that goes. And, that was fun. Maybe we'll pick up the whole game. Or not. Okay, we had a few hours of fun, and we can move on. And there's a whole. It might be a way to kind of try some of these games out that I've been looking at for a while in a very confined space, without actually committing a ton of resources. And if it's online, people don't have to feel like they've wasted their time coming to play. They can just log in, and if we don't feel it after a session, we can just throw it away and move on. No one cares. So,
right.
So I'm mulling over.
That's cool. I've also been doing, if anybody wants to watch me play games, I've also been doing some one-shots with Gehenna Gaming for their Saturday night one-shots. And we'll be probably doing some stuff in the future as well.
Which ones have you been playing?
I did Alien, I did Vaesen, I think it's pronounced. The Scandinavian folk horror game.
Okay.
So I've got those, and then who knows? I'll probably be in other ones in the future because I like playing with those folks. They're fun. And Eddy's still streaming, I think, occasionally. Yes?
Yes, I am still streaming my mystery games right now on Wednesdays.
Matthew, can people watch you play somewhere?
Oh, can they? Well, if they... No.
Nah.
I was about to suggest a convention that I'm at, but by the time this goes out, that will be over. I mean, if people want to play with me, and I know this is somewhat of a shilling for myself, I run games for people who support my Patreon. I'm currently running, as mentioned, Pendragon, Broken Rooms, which is a sort of cross-dimensional alternate Earth game I really enjoy. It's really quite popular in the UK convention scene.
Yeah, I want to try that at some point. I keep hearing good things about it. Mostly from you.
It has a really innovative mechanic as well, which is it's a bit gimmicky, but it works, and it uses D12s as its dice system, which is unusual enough to be fun. But yeah, I'm also running Pathfinder, Call of Cthulhu, Vampire the Masquerade. So yeah, got several games on the go, but I'm always happy to get more players as old ones drop out, or life demands them be elsewhere. So yeah, well, I'm not role playing for an audience other than on here, of course, with Trinity.
Right.
I am always happy to run for people.
Cool. That's exciting. I'm always happy to play at any games. So if anybody has games they want to guest person in or anything, or want to play in, let me know. I like playing games. It's fun. I especially like playing non-Onyx Path games sometimes, because I love our games, but we play them fairly often. And I read them fairly often.
Oh yeah, well, that's the thing. I do one-shots of all of the They Came From games and variations on the They Came From games pretty frequently, either with Patreons, my regular gaming group. I never sort of include them in the lineup because I know it sounds awful, but it is part of my job.
Right.
But I enjoy it, so it's not a bad thing that it's part of my job. I'm just very fortunate that my job is something I enjoy doing. But yeah, so I'm always doing playtesting for games like They Came From, or again, Vampire the Masquerade. If there's a new lore sheet we've written, I'll try and stress test some of the powers in it. But most of the situations, well, Vampire the Masquerade especially is a very situational role-playing game, making playtesting quite hard, whereas I consider a game like D&D or Pathfinder, which is primarily based around combat, a little easier to stress test because you can anticipate better how players are going to fall into certain archetypal roles, such as fighters, wizards, clerics, and whatnot. But Vampire is a really difficult game to test because it's so character driven rather than class driven.
Yeah, I don't think
Right.
that we did any rolls the last session I played aside from our browse checks. Because,
Yeah.
like, I was just... It was a lot of talking. Like, we went to an Elysium, we went to Red Number 5, we were doing, politics. Some of the other folks had to make rolls, but mostly I just harassed Balthazar.
Well, he deserves it.
Yeah, no, we're going to kill him.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was very mean to him. Also, he's one of my coterie mates' grandsires.
That's awkward.
My coterie mate also wants to kill him, so it's fine.
Oh, okay.
Well, you can only grow into your own vampire after you've killed your grandsire. I'm fairly certain that's the rule. So, I give them my blessing to murder Balthazar.
Isn't that why we put him in the book to begin with?
Basically, yeah.
He and Jason Newberry specifically are in there as people to kill.
Oh, well, they're
or
both fucking with us,
to
so...
sabotage.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both arseholes, and Let the Streets Run Red has got yet more arseholes. At least one who you will want to just murder.
Is that a bullet in the back of the book? Even more assholes to kill.
Yes, new law sheets, new merits and flaws, and yet more assholes.
We actually did get Balthazar booted from Elysium for a full year because we got him to punch one of our guys in the face.
Nice.
Yeah, we like goaded him into it. He like punched him, and my character just turned around and was like, Prince Jackson?
Little tattletale.
She observes the rules of the Camarilla because she is an anti-trib. Well, her sire was. It's fun. I like it.
Yeah, I don't think Prince Jackson will need much convincing for someone to run up to them and say, Prince Jackson, the horrible ex-Confederate shitheel, just punched me in the face. Can you ban him? Yes, that was easy.
Yeah, no, him and Damien were very happy to ban him.
It's like, oh, good excuse. There we go.
Yeah, they were like, thank you for giving us an excuse. Get the fuck out. So, Eddy.
Yes.
If people want to find you and talk to you about any of these games, and if you have any final thoughts, where would they find you?
They could find me through pugsteady.com, and from there you could find all my social media accounts. And no, I think I'm pretty happy. Well, actually, one final thought I do want to have is to touch back to the point, like Matthew mentioned, that he didn't talk about the Onyx Path games he runs. I think it's fair because a lot of times when we're playing or running these games, even if we're doing it for fun, in the back of our head, we're still thinking, okay, I could have tweaked that system better, or, oh, I should mention that to Rich, or whatever. So I think it's fair to count those as work, even though they are still entertaining. So I think it's a good distinction to make.
Yeah, totally. Matthew, do you have any final thoughts? And also, where can people find you, follow you?
So, final thoughts. That's a good question, isn't it? Well, I just want to say to people who are listening that myself and indeed my wonderful co-hosts here, we're all working on different They Came From games now, or new They Came From games. And it's just so exciting to me as a creator, developer, writer, whatever, that this game line keeps coming up. Well, we keep coming up with new games. New source books, and it's such a wonderful experience for me to be able to work with people I just love working with. I don't mean to sound boastful, but I really do feel very fortunate to be able to work with people I really like and whose work I truly admire, and I can't wait to see what they do with They Came From Camp Murder Lake.
I am so excited about They Came From Camp Murder Lake.
It was really, really fun.
Like, it's not due for a little bit, so I have time, and I have other drafts I have to work on before I work on that one. But I really want to work on that one.
Yeah, and it's a good excuse to watch even more slasher movies.
Yeah, actually, I just got a subscription to Shudder, so I am going to watch 1 million slasher movies. And then do my writing.
Perfect.
I am so excited.
Otherwise, people can find me on MatthewDawkins.com, and by all means, if they want to ask about Camp Murder Lake, they can ask me there. They can also find me on all my social media, linkable on MatthewDawkins.com.
Awesome. They can find me at Dixie Cyanide in most places. They can occasionally see me on the Gehenna Gaming or Onyx Path Twitch channels, who knows. And you can find us at theonyxpath.com, the Onyx Path on most social media. As always, many worlds, one Pathcast.